We are live. Shalom, shalom, family.
Shalom. Shalom, shalom.
Yes, welcome, guys. Welcome to the live. Welcome to the video. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like the video when you see the video. If you're in the live chat, make sure you like the video. We just gonna get right into it. Just a little quick, little live about is the world turning on America? Do you believe it? Can that does that make sense to you? I guess I should say.
I was gonna
Like, can you
say,
see that?
how could you not see it? Like, is
Yeah.
it even a question?
Exactly. Yeah. How can you not
Is it
see
even a
this?
question at this rate? We were talking about the scriptures, a house divided cannot stand. And I think the wonderful thing about writing, when scriptures are written, when history is written, especially when it is the Messiah speaking, that's a principle where he literally is saying, he's not saying this is a suggestion. He's not saying this is like, just use this as a cute proverb. He's coming from an authoritative standpoint and saying, FYI, just so you know, a house that is divided cannot stand. If you bind the strong man, then you can get into the rest of the house,
Mm.
which is exactly what is happening. And I know a lot of people can feel it in America. If you're not gaslighting your nervous system is not lying to you. If you have anxiety right now and you're in America, if you're seeing everything that's happening, if you're in your circles in America and your friends and your family, everybody's talking about it, everybody's stressed out, that's for a reason. That's your nervous system trying to tell you this atmosphere is no longer safe. You should honor that. You should honor your body in that way and be like, you know what? If my body's trying to tell me that stuff is about to go completely in shambles,
Mm.
because remember, we're only 2 months in
Yeah.
to the new administration.
Yeah. I want to say like it just passed 100 days or something like that, and you guys gonna see in the video that we share, but they're just so happy about everything that they passed. All the bills and just everything like that. So if you can't feel it, like I'm not sure if you're like in tune with yourself.
Mm.
So you really gotta be in tune with yourself, and once you're at that point, you should be like feeling like it's time to get out of this place. Like,
Before it gets worse.
exactly, because it is just gonna get worse. Like, we
Mm.
just know that. I'm not saying like we're the most high, but the scriptures say it's gonna get worse.
I
So
mean, even
scriptures
somebody that doesn't
is,
read scriptures can see that.
yeah. It's just
People,
it's not gonna go back to before 2020, right? I know. I think we was watching a video the other day, or maybe this morning. I'm not sure about how like people thought 2020 they's pretty much locked down, right? And then 2022 came around,
mm-hmm.
they ran everywhere and did this. 2023 is like, whoa, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Or what was it? 2023 running around just trying to do everything because they've been locked down so long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then 2024 is sitting, I'm like, what? Dang, what did I just do? Like, is this gonna go back to normal? And
Yeah.
it's not gonna go back to normal. So you gotta like be real with yourself. You
Yeah.
really gotta be real with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and be like, man, what is what am I about to do? Like for myself, for my children, for next generation. Like what's really about to happen in the next, you can say the next 4 years, really,
You
the
can say
next
next
five
four
years.
months.
Yeah, like yeah. But that's the bigger
Oh
picture
gosh.
of the
Yeah.
next 4 years is probably gonna be it's not gonna be the same at all. It's not gonna be
Yeah.
the same at all. So, you
But
know.
I mean, what same is it that we're trying to go back to? I mean, when I look at history, growing up, I grew up in an Ashkenazi Jewish community, FYI for everybody, so you have the context. I grew up understanding deeply European American dynamics, understanding deeply, hey, these people took my ancestors from Africa, enslaved them, profited off their backs, and then just sit up here like everything's cool. So for me, growing up, I always knew like nothing's sweet, nothing's cool.
Mm.
This isn't a cool situation. This is not my homeland. I don't feel at home in my homeland, quote unquote, because it's not my homeland. I was taken, my ancestors were taken hundreds of years ago, probably just 200 years ago, by force. It wasn't something where they were like, yeah, let's go immigrate to America. It'll be so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what yeah, you said it. You definitely said that. Like correctly.
That's just not how they,
Yeah.
and so when I
Mm.
look back at it, especially when people ask like what's normal, like I just wonder,
Mm.
like I genuinely wonder, what do you call normal? Because since 1619, before America was even a country, you
Mm,
had millions of Africans being brought to the Americas, not just America, because Brazil is the biggest country outside of Africa that
mm,
has
okay,
Black
yeah.
African populations from Angola, Mozambique, and Congo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so that's where the largest diaspora population is outside of Africa. And then you have America. A lot of us came from West Africa, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Ghana, but a lot of us also came from East Africa. I've seen people who were descendants of Zanzibar brought through the slave trade. A lot of slave routes actually took from east to south out to West Africa. Why? Because they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the trade was. And so then that's abolished. You go through that, that's great. Then also you have Jim Crow. You have all of that that preceded after Jim Crow. You have the 1920s, you have the 30s, you have the lynchings, you have Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's why
Yeah.
it's not even about the actual trade, it's about the society and the institution of America. The trade was one thing, it was bad enough to rape and pillage, to buck break, to feed babies to crocodiles, to take somebody in slave trade, but they didn't stop there. That wasn't it. It was like, that's great, but first of all, you're not even going to get 40 acres and a mule. Whenever you build business, whenever you unify, we're going to bomb you.
Yeah,
And
and
then we're
that
going to gaslight you like it's your fault.
man, yeah, and that happened all across America. Like it's so crazy if you really do your research. That happened pretty much everywhere, not just
Mm-hmm.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, not just in Philly, right? It's like it happened everywhere. In Atlanta, they put lakes and rivers over black towns and stuff. It's just
New
like
York.
New York, like everywhere, like really. And it's just like it's just once you really realize, like, hey, I don't think this place is for me. Like, I don't think America is gonna, allow me to be great. You know, the greatness that the Most High allow us to be, it's just gonna keep you down. Like really.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's so big now to the point. It used to be a time where only blacks would say these things and only black people were aware. But European descent Americans are now also aware America's not great. That's why
Mm-hmm.
Europeans are leaving in droves to Spain, Portugal, Italy, going back to Eastern Europe, kind of leaving Western Europe behind. French people leaving Western Europe behind, people in Great Britain leaving that place behind. Why? Because they're realizing this Western system is so corrupt that has literally reached the heavens, and the Most High has said, now's the time of desolation, now's the time of destruction, now everything is going to crumble. And so we can literally see that the world is turning on Americans
Mm-hmm.
right now. You were talking earlier, what was that you said? You said there's going to come a time when like Americans will travel and they'll be like instead of being in awe and like, oh my gosh, you're an American, they'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, you're an American? Do you side
Yeah,
with
because
Trump?
it's starting to being said. I was watching something about it was a person interviewing people on the streets in Canada. So they was basically asking Canadians, "How do you feel about this? What President Trump is doing?" And they're like, "Oh, he need to stay over there. He need to mind his business." Blah blah blah. But one comment stuck out was like, "Oh, I feel like if you're American, you should feel and you should feel embarrassed. You shouldn't be proud to be an American right now." And it's
You
like,
should have
man,
never
that
been
that
proud to be that.
yeah, it's crazy to think because just now when we say we're from America, everybody gets excited like, oh wow, okay, wow, man, that's great, but they don't know the mindset behind like we don't want to be in, we don't want that title. You get what I'm saying? We really don't. But that's our passport for now. So it's gonna come a time when they ask like, oh, you're from America. How do you feel about that? If people ask us that, we like, oh no, we don't feel good. We don't want to be that. And
Yeah, somebody's already asked us that from
yeah.
South Africa.
So they will look at us like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you want to be American? But it's going to come a time where they ask us that, and we don't want to do that. They be like, oh, I agree, and it's probably going to be more of a bond of like, disliking America.
And I think the beautiful thing about all this is while
Mhm.
America is distracted with Canada, Europe, Mexico, and India because they just announced new tariffs 100% on India, while the West is distracted amongst themselves, Africa's rising.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought Africa was rising in 2020, 2021 when we first arrived. We're like, yeah, Africa's rising, but nah. The stuff that's happening in Senegal and Burkina Faso and Niger and Mali with the Sahel Alliance,
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that's happening with Congolese people being more aware, the stuff that's happening in South Africa, Angola, it's all throughout the continent. The deals that are happening between countries like Saudi Arabia, Burkina Faso, Turkey, Burkina Faso, it's like, oh, we're going
Yeah,
back to the ancient kingdoms that were ruling and trading before America was even a thought.
exactly. So like you just
Thousands of years before.
you gotta know your history and stuff. And this person that keep commenting is annoying, to be honest.
But yeah, so we wanted to go ahead and do a actual video with you guys, the full speech of President Trump, okay? Because it was wild. I was a little bit late. We've been super busy, but I did see on social media everybody was like talking about, oh, what happened with this speech? What happened in the Congress or whatever? And I was like, what happened? Like I got off consultation like, oh, what happened? Doing a presentation and seeing all the uproar on social media. Also being empathetic to realize that this probably I haven't been in America in 5 years, so I assume that the tensions probably feel similar to how a lot of people felt with George Floyd, similar to how people felt with all of those lynching cases that were happening. They don't hit mainstream. They just still continue to this day, even though they're not mainstream. But I'm getting that feeling, but it's even more now because it's not just African Americans feeling it, African diaspora. It's a lot of Americans, and they're divided. A house divided cannot stand. So let's see, what exactly this means, what it looks like, what's going on. Let us know in the comments what you think. With a house divided, not being able to stand, would you call this the decline of the Babylonian Empire? Would you just say it's a cute coincidence?
Yeah. Yeah, let us know, because this is like, it's clear, like people are standing up and people some people just is sitting down. So that's it's clear as day.
Members of the United States Congress, thank you very much. And to my fellow citizens, America is back.
So even right here, just this is a perfect example of how America is looking right now. You guys see how um, the right side is all standing up, but the left side is not. So just imagine if it was a platform on everybody's head, and this side stands up, the right side stands up, the left side is like a lot of stuff is going to fall on that platform. That the platform is going to go down to the left and slip all the way off. So this is how America's looking right now. Like
To the entire world.
Yeah, to the entire world, like two countries, because you got to think America's only 4% of the world. You really got to think about that.
Six weeks ago, I stood beneath the dome of this Capitol and proclaimed the dawn of the golden age of America. From that moment on, it has been nothing but swift and unrelenting action to usher in the greatest and most successful era in the history of our country. We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started.
You got to think, look, they're just getting started.
Yeah, it sounds like
he said it's only 43 days, 40,
Yeah.
44, 45 days, and they just getting started.
Yeah.
So there's a lot it's a lot that has to unfold, guys. It's a lot that has to unfold.
Can you please just hear me out? No, all work management platforms are the same.
Just gotta let it play. But yeah.
Who uses them? Monday.com.
I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before. The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again. There's never been anything like it.
And if you know, you get like sometimes, they be speaking in code in a way. So you just gotta be on code and understand what he could be talking about, right? So
What do
you
you
gotta
mean?
be just speaking in code. So it's nothing. I'm not trying to explain it or mean anything about it, but just from that's a little sneaky right there. That's a little snakish.
The presidential election of November 5th was a mandate like has not been seen in many decades. We won all 7 swing states, giving us an electoral college victory of 312 votes. We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
Keep going. Yeah.
Look, just like this, a perfect example of how America looks. How the left side of the screen right now, the left side, everybody standing up, clapping, chanting that USA. The right side just sitting down. They just got to be there. So it's just like it's something to really understand. Hey, a house divided cannot stand. It's a clear division that's happening right now.
And won counties in our country, 2,700 to 525, on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican. Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever. Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning.
And I'm not sure what he was saying and stuff. We just know that he got kicked out of his meeting for standing up, disrupting, the meeting. I'm not sure if this ever happened before. I want to say it never really happened. Ever since they've been having meetings.
I mean, it reminds me of like when you would learn in the textbooks, like what it looked like when America branched off. Well, it wasn't America at that time, but when British descendants branched off from America and branched off from Europe and moved to America. I think that's what we're seeing. This division within the bigger European settlement that people aren't seeing right now. People can't understand it and fathom it. I think our community has to realize that we're not the center of the universe. And so if instead Yeshua is the center of the universe, he made everything to be for him, within him, and about him, they have to look at these things, look at geopolitics, look at prophecy, look at what's happening as if it's working around him. Okay? If that makes sense. Like not putting, the 1%, less than 1%, 0.56% of Black people that are on the planet are in America. And then like super highlighting that's just not reality. Just like it's not reality for humanity to think that because America holds a lot of the world's wealth, that automatically means that's where all of humanity is. That's just not how it works. That's not how colonization works. By default, colonization operates in a way that a small segment of people own the land, the resources that the rest of the other people cannot own. That's like colonization. That's how that operates. That's how that works. And once you have that understanding, you can start to say, okay, now I can start to understand the Bible through a more clear lens. I can start to understand humanity through a better lens. I can start to understand what's going on right in front of me through a clear lens. That way you can make the best decisions for you.
They said they can't see the video.
I can see it. So this
mean,
is
we
the
can see
time
it.
to figure out what you want to do. This is the time to ask yourself the uncomfortable question, okay, if this actually is declining, if this actually is about to go completely off the rails, because we're seeing the symptoms of it, just like before somebody has a heart attack, a lot of times if you would check their blood work, you would check their stress levels, you would see symptoms leading up to it. Before somebody has a full-on hemorrhagic stroke, you will see smaller ischemic strokes, or you would see some type of issue in the body. We're seeing the same thing. We're seeing these symptoms that are going to lead up to the bigger event that is literally going to be this fall of not only America, because Babylon isn't just America. Babylon includes Catholic Church in Europe, Rome, Italy, Great Britain, Germany, France. That's the Babylonian structure that does these occult rituals that people don't know about on the winter solstice, on all of these different days. They've done these occult rituals, done these sacrifices, and this is nothing new. They do these things hoping that they'll be able to go and trap continents like Africa, go and trap continents and countries in India, in China, in Taiwan. And it's like, there's a time where that's not going to be happening anymore. And that time is now. And while it's happening, we're literally seeing people that are in India saying, you know what, if you do these 100% tariffs, we're going to do tariffs back to you. Okay? If you do whatever it is, we're going to do it right back to you. And that's what Trump was saying at first, that he was going to do for the other countries. But at the end of the day, these countries outside of America aren't afraid of America anymore. At the end of the day, African nations do not want colonizer leaders in there, colonizer puppets. African nations don't care anymore. And so it's like, you guys see the writing on the wall. Is the world turning on America now? Answer it for yourself.
Yeah, it's plain as day. We see some comments about the video not being played, so we're not even gonna stress about that. We're just gonna move on to the next subject that we got. But you really do have to ask yourself about is America falling, or are you gonna fall with them? Like, really, you gotta ask yourself that.
Yes, guys, let's look at this BBC article. BBC is an international news channel, and it's titled, China says it's ready for any type of war with the US. So I think just that headline alone, China says it's ready for any type of war with the US. That's big. They're saying it's a trade war. It could be a physical war. They're saying it could be a spiritual war. It don't matter. They're ready. I'll just leave that off. You don't need to screen share. It's not working.
I'll just leave the thing up.
Yeah, don't screen share.
Okay. You just reading it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, hold on. Let me
China has warned the US. They have said that they are not going to be afraid of any type of war. They said this after hitting back at President Donald Trump's mounting trade tariffs.
That's working.
The world's top two economies have edged closer to a trade war after Trump slapped more tariffs on Chinese goods. China quickly retaliated, imposing 10 to 15% tariffs on U.S. farm products. Does anybody know what that means? Imposing 10 to 15% tariffs. Tariffs or taxes on U.S. farm products. Does anybody know what that means? That means that your goods that come from China, if you get in some Chinese chicken, some Chinese whatever it is, they're important foods, no tariffs, 10 to 15%. So this doesn't just cripple China, this cripples America as well, because tariffs, when countries do them, it's not like a one-way street. It's literally, that's why they're calling it a trade war. It's like people in both countries are going to have hyperinflation like that. And depending on the society, the culture, how they're able to downsize, live a minimalist life, live a stress-free life, depending on how out of debt the people are. This is why it's so bad specifically for America, because America is a consumer debt society. Most countries on earth are not. America has about the highest debt rate out of any nation on the face of the planet, owed mostly to China and Japan. Okay, so you might as well say the people who own America are basically China and Japan. But if a war is what the US wants, this is what they said, be it a tariff war, a trade war, or any other type of war, we're ready to fight till the end. That sounds scary, don't it?
No, that's what it is.
They said to the end.
Yeah, I feel like just how I feel about President Trump.
my.
If he say what he say is what he mean, and what they say is what they mean. So it's two people like that. It's gonna be bumping heads. So we're gonna see where this takes things, because I'm telling you guys, a lot of changes that's happening. It's a lot of changes that's happening, and I really believe it's important to be in the right continent, the right environment. It's not, of course, you're gonna be, you know, on the right side, but I think it's more than that now. You really got to be in the right environment. You got to be on the right landscape, like really.
Yeah, because trade war is no joke. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, trade war is no joke. I mean, you look at the Great Depression, you look at some of these things that have happened in times past, and the question needs to be, okay, knowing what I know now, praying the prayers I'm praying, getting understanding, getting discernment, being like the Joseph of this age for my lineage and for my family. What do I need to do? What do I need to put in motion to make sure that I'm preserving my lineage in the way that the Most High has laid out for me since the beginning of the world? So they're saying it's some of the strongest rhetoric so far from China since Trump became president, and comes as leaders gathered in Beijing for the annual National People's Congress. And so I imagine for China, they feel like, yeah, this is like an inspirational, motivational speech. Because what most folks don't understand is once you get outside of America and you're not in a country that idolizes America, if you're going somewhere like China, you're going somewhere like North Korea, you're going to a place that does not idolize the West, or even some of the Arabian countries that do not idolize America but have stronger currencies than America, that's why they're willing to say, I will fight to the end. Saying, okay, you won't hold back, I won't hold back either. It's literally the prophecy in Joel 3 where the Most High says, I'm going to bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat and plead to them face to face for my chosen people, the children of Israel. This is the pleading. This is the, if you don't back down. But we all know that in there, these white supremacist nations don't back down. If you don't know history, I've studied European, they don't back down. In European history, that's their pattern. It doesn't matter if they're fighting themselves, they don't back down. Understand that. See, African people, we're not like that. African people, they're forgiving, they're kind, they're loving, sometimes a little bit too kind to their own detriment, is what a lot of us are as African people. Just let anybody in, you're just like, everybody's good. And it's like, we need leaders that are on the continent, like Captain Ibrahim Traore, like the Malawi president that has now also taken after Ibrahim Traore and said, you know what, some of y'all gotta get out. We need to produce our own. Senegal. Malawi, as well as Senegal, as well as Chad, as well as Niger and Mali. So all across the continent, certain leaders are waking up and saying, okay, this is enough. So you ask yourself, okay, is America declining, and can the entire world see it before our eyes? I was watching a video of actually when Trump told India that he would be willing to put 100% tariffs. I was looking in the comments and they were like, go ahead and do it. They was like, well, it is what it is. Like nobody's super afraid of Great Britain or America anymore like they were in times past when Great Britain and America had gone out across the entire earth and colonized every type of melanated being and nation on the face of the planet. Ask the Aboriginal Australians. I digress. You keep reading. So it says on BBC, leaders in Beijing are trying to send a message to people in China. They are confident the country's economy can grow even with the threat of trade war. China has been keen to portray an image of stable, peaceful country in contrast to the U.S., which Beijing accuses of being embroiled in the wars in the Middle East and the Ukraine. China may also hope to capitalize on Trump's actions relating to the U.S. allies such as Canada and Mexico, which have also been hit by tariffs, and will not want to ramp up the rhetoric too far to scare off potential new global partners. So essentially, if you had a picture of the earth, everybody's scrambling to choose a side. not just African nations, the entire earth, the entire nations, all of the nations on the planet Earth are scrambling to see who their partners are going to be, who their allies are going to be, what leverage they can get, what their safe space is. Hence, why the Sahel Alliance is now coming into effect with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger is saying they're going to integrate themselves together and have one passport for the Sahel Alliance. And so you ask yourself, oh, are these things really happening? Is the world turning on Americans now? And if the world is turning on Americans, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to leverage your US passport while you can before it completely goes under? Are you going to use, the few visa-free African countries or visa-free for Americans, African countries that exist right now to get some leverage, i.e. Seychelles, Senegal, South Africa, Namibia, Mauritius, all visa-free for Americans, Cape Verde as well. But these are the things that you have to start to ask yourself, like, what does this look like? What's laid out for my entire trajectory and my lineage after me?
Really, look, the name of the game is leverage. Now, like really, the name of the game is leverage. So you gotta understand, like, what can you leverage right now to gain later, to profit later, because it's just like when you just look at America, just like the video I hope you guys saw. But it was literally one side standing up and the other side down, sitting down. So obviously it's the divide in America already. Now the president, the leader of America, is going out and saying this to other big countries that has military power too. So you got to think like, dang, America's about to be a mess. Just being in America, but outside of America and trying to challenge other people and stuff, it's gonna be even a bigger mess. Because Europe is turning on America too. So
they're cousins, y'all. They cool, right? But look what this says. Look, Elon Musk supports America and a few other Republican governors as well support America in leaving the United Nations and NATO. Okay. Two separate entities. The United Nations is basically like an aid place where all Western European mostly countries come together, putting aid throughout the entire world in hopes to get leverage. Giving a gift blinds the eye. That's what Proverbs say. That's how that functions for the United Nations. NATO is an alliance that happened shortly after World War II, where the Europeans are like, look, we're not about to blow each other up anymore. Let's go blow some other people up, but we're not going to blow each other up. We're going to be in an alliance, NATO, America, France, Germany, Great Britain, all the folks, they're like, look, we're not going to do that. We're going to be cool. We're going to be good. We're going to have our NATO alliance together. But Elon Musk, who is South African, but he has some leverage in the Oval Office, the White House, Elon Musk is prompting Trump, prompting people on Twitter, prompting everybody like, hey, we need to go ahead and leave the United Nations. Let's see why. We're reading this from firstpost.com. Elon Musk has supported a call for the U.S. to withdraw from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and the United Nations. This has sparked fear that the Trump administration, who has been putting America first, would abandon Europe and its other allies. However, such a move would... I need to find my spot. However, such a move will also spell trouble for Washington and global politics. That's absolutely true. Will he, amid strained ties? There are growing murmurs that President Donald Trump should pull out of NATO and the United Nations. Is the U.S. opting out of NATO? That's the question everyone is asking after First Buddy. God.
The Vice President or First Buddy, that's funny.
Elon Musk shared his support for the same on social media platform on Saturday, March 1st. Notably, Musk isn't alone in his support for America's exit from the military alliance. Several Republican lawmakers have questioned Washington's membership in NATO, with some even calling for an immediate pullout. They say, immediate, y'all know what immediate means? They say, you need to get out of this today. We need to pull our ties. And I'm telling you, if you look back at history, European history specifically, this happened when they wanted to branch off from Great Britain, branch off from the quote unquote Catholic Church, even though they didn't really do that, branch off and start their own thing, do their own thing. But this time, the Most High is not on that side. This time, the Most High said, time's up, captivity's over. I'm not going to have you decimating these Aboriginal people, these African peoples anymore. I'm not going to have you just decimating people and colonizing people to the 10th degree. This time, your weapons of warfare get to get turned on your own heads. That's what it is. And so these comments came right after the Ukrainian president Vladimir Zelensky was at the White House. Y'all know how that went down. He was essentially just going overboard, acting insane, just in the White House, acting wild like a big crybaby. But I mean, that's normal for the people of that area. They tend to act like that when stuff don't go their way. So now they're facing it within themselves, though. So the attention is going to go off of Africa, off of Aboriginal countries, off of countries that have indigenous populations that they did not completely murder, where there's still populations that exist. It's going to go off of those countries. The attention is going to be diverted to America, Europe, Russia. That's where the attention is going to be. China as well. That's where the attention is going to be. And so while that's happening, countries like Burkina Faso, countries like Mali, countries like Malawi, countries like South Africa, countries like Senegal, Ghana even, are waking up like, all right, puppets, y'all, time is up.
Yeah,
it's time for y'all to leave.
Yeah, we got to stand together. And that's just what it is. Like once, other like African countries come together and actually stand together, just how West Africa is literally coming together and stand together, things are going to change. Things are going to change super fast, like really. So, like the comment says, I think Europe and USA are distracting us. It is, because you just got to really know what's important and what your attention should be pulled to, like really your research and stuff. And if you don't know what's going on in West Africa right now, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning of Africa uniting.
Mhm.
Like it's not just going to be a flip of a switch, like a snap of a finger, and then it's Africa's united. No, it's going to take years. It's going to take the trusted right people to do so, because it's not, you can't trust every African leader. They say one thing and do another thing. So you got to trust the people that say something and actually do it. Like really, just please don't be distracted about what's going on with everything that's happening in all around the world with China, America, blah 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 blah. Know what's really happening. Like know the scriptures that's coming to pass, like right in front of our eyes. Like it's really happening, y'all.
Yeah, know that you can diversify. Like you're not stuck. I don't know why people think they're stuck. Maybe due to propaganda or whatever. But on my threads, on my Instagram, I've never seen so many Black Americans leaving America for Africa, for Asia, for wherever, leaving America, not to visit, for good.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen so many people. Every day I go on Instagram, I go on threads. People are like, okay, I'm going to Senegal. Okay, I'm in Nigeria. Or I've been here for a year. I've been there. Or I've been there. And it's so refreshing, because when we left, there wasn't as many people talking about it as there are now. But now it's almost normalized, where in most of our community groups, people are like, yeah, I'm leaving to Africa. You probably know someone in your group that has plans to travel and move to Africa, if not another country, because the writing is clearly on the wall. When you have these Democrats, Republicans, doesn't matter if they're Black, white, whoever, literally yelling across stages, standing up, going like this with sticks, it's like, divest. Why continue to beat the head of a donkey over and like, why? America will not change. It has never changed. Don't put your trust in it. Great Britain will not change. Germany will not change. Colonizers don't change. If they was going to do that, it would have already been, you wouldn't have seen colonization. And so just stop putting your faith in that. That's why in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 13, it says, blessed are those who trust in Yah and put their trust in him. Heal me and I shall be healed.
His trust, yeah.
So it's like, where's your trust? Is your trust in I can only survive in America? America is the only great place on the face of the planet, even though it only houses 4% of the human population? Or is it like, there's an entire world out there. There's a lot of abundance that I can experience. And I don't need a 9 to 5. I don't need a corporate job. I don't need Uncle Sam. I don't need whoever it is telling me what to do, how to do it. I just don't need it. Life gets 10 times easier outside of the West, especially if you have a blue passport. The only time I've really been excited to be an American is when I'm not in America. That's the only time I enjoy it. I'm like, oh great. The minute you step back into America, you like, oh no. We knew that when we were leaving. So we already knew we weren't going to return. We already knew that. And made sure that our provision, our business plans, our mindset, our children, we made sure everything was ready to not return, because as you can see today, what would we be returning to? A house divided cannot stand. Why would we try to build our lineage on a house that will not be standing in the next 5 to 10 years? It's a slippery slope. So what would be the point of trying to make it stand?
Yeah. And it's like, if you know in any kind of truth, a little bit of truth, especially coming into this truth of who you are and whose you are and what our nation is, you should know what America represents. You should know that just from the root. It's just a big old spell cast. It's Hollywood. It's literally a stage. It's literally like a play, and it's a circus. Once you step outside of America, you will realize, like, dang, that's so crazy. Like, it is a circus. It's a big circus.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that's happening in America right now, when you outside of America, I'm telling you, everybody's laughing at America.
Literally, they be.
It's like an entertainment hub.
Like, you like Trump? Like, no.
Yeah, it's like an entertainment hub. That's what people need. That's what the world needs. America being the entertainment now.
I'm just kind of speechless. It's just the irony of it, the irony of being alive in this specific time period, and the blessing of it also. Being able to, be in a time period where you can move to wherever you want. You can travel Africa. You can live in an African island nation. You can live in South Africa. You can live in West Africa. You can visit Morocco. You can diversify and have property in one country, but live in a different one. Sell property in that country, then put your investments in a different one. Like, you have options. You have peace. You have power. You specifically have everything you need, but it starts with your mind and you believing that. Because I can't believe it for you.
I was just about to say, it's just a mindset thing. And I'll give you a little gem, a key thing. Most of the people that is successful inside America and outside of America, they're entrepreneurs.
Oh,
that they're making their own money. So get used to making your own money.
Yeah.
Like, really, if you cannot do that, please work on it. Like, really.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're going to really survive outside of America long term.
Yeah.
You come here to Africa,
that's good.
You see people are like, what do you do? Oh, I'm a businessman. That's the best job to have here in Africa. Be
Anywhere.
a businessman.
In America as well.
Yeah, but you can make your cap is not, it's really no cap to the money that you can make. So it's just like, man, you really got to learn how to take your skill sets, take your talents that the Most High bless you with, monetize it, and make some money with it.
Yes,
make some
it's
income.
simple. Especially in the age of the internet, it's just way too simple. It's way too easy. It's way too abundant. It's like you really don't have many things to complain about, especially as someone that was born in America. I know we were talking about that last night. Like, there are people who would literally come from like a village in Africa, a village in India, bootstrap themselves, come to America, become doctors, engineers, open their own practices. But those of us born in America complain so much to the point where it's like, well, that's the whole issue. You're not prosperous because you complain so much. You talk too much. And the talking you do isn't blessing your lifestyle, isn't blessing your business, isn't blessing your lineage. Because it just blows my mind being somebody that travels and seeing like how blessed we are, but our community doesn't believe it. And so you miss the blessing because of your mind. Yeah. It's like, if somebody else was born in your shoes, they would run with it to the fullest extent, to the beyond fullest extent. And it's like the amount of ingratitude that is in Black America is literally like a spiritual disease that just eats from the inside out. It's horrible. Yeah, it's a catastrophe.
That's true. And you got to realize that And that's what I'm saying. If you know some type of little truth, like we don't have to explain what it is. You should already know what it is. Like we are like that's curses that you have to break, like spiritual curses.
Yeah.
And once you realize that, I'm telling you, life would be just so much smoother. You know, the process would just be so much smoother.
Yeah, like
Trusting in the Most High would be so much smoother. Like really.
yeah. But you can't trust without gratitude. You can't trust something that you're not grateful for. Gratitude is the first. This is why the Most High says over and over. I was looking at different precepts today that linked back Thessalonians, Proverbs, Psalms. It's a consistent pattern. He says, "Come into my gates with praise and thanksgiving. Be grateful. Be faithful. Think back." I believe it's Psalms 124. Look what I did for you in the wilderness. Don't forget, because you start forgetting, then you're ungrateful. The moment you start forgetting and being ungrateful, you have lost every blessing you had. Lost every ounce. Like the Most High could literally be trying to hand you a gold platter. But because your brain and your spiritual vibration is at such a low level, you will push it away and say, "I don't want that." And he's just looking at you like, "Okay, I'll give it to somebody else. Bye." He's not going to beg you to get the blessing. Why would the creator of the entire universe, why would he do that? Empathize with him for a while and think, like, why would he beg you to get the blood? Why would he do that? At a certain point, when Yahushua was on earth and he was speaking to the people of Judah, he was crying in the temple saying, "If anybody's thirsty, just come to me." At a certain point, he said, "You know what? I'm just going to leave because I can't do miracles here." Not because he didn't want to, not because he didn't love them, but he just couldn't do it. The creator of the entire universe could not perform miracles in Judah because they did not have faith, because they weren't grateful for what was literally right in front of their eyes.
Yeah. Belief goes a long way. Faith, trust, like really gratefulness, it goes a long way. Like really.
Yeah, and you'll live like a happier life. You won't have high blood pressure. You won't be stressed. You won't be strung out. You'll be like in your right mind. Like it's really simple. It's so simple. Because I'm telling you, that blows my mind when we work with our international clients and hear their stories and see how far they've gone as immigrants. It's like, oh, wow. Americans are ungrateful as heck. Specifically, Black Americans. Oh my gosh. I'm like, it just blows my mind. Working with international clients, doing different keynote engagements, speaking to people, Nigeria, Ghana. It's like there are certain people on the face of this earth that have high energy and positivity no matter what life throws at them, and they will always make it. Nothing can harm them, nothing can block their path, nothing can harm them because their mind is so strong, because they're positive. It don't matter if they're on a sinking ship, they're going to find a way to make this ship sail, or they're going to swim to safety, and they're going to be good. You need to make sure that you are this kind of person. You need to make sure that your identity is matching up with that kind of person. That's what the entire gospel, that's what Abraham's entire story is about. He was born into a situation, born into a family in Babylon. Tahor was one of the best idol creators, idol worshipers in the face of that empire. They would make these idols. He's maybe some type of potter, some type of ironsmith work, whatever he was making the idols out of, but he was so good at it and it would make him a lot of money. Because if you've ever been in a nation like that where they have these little idols, it could be a Nigerian mask, it could be a different mask from a different part of Africa, these little totems that people make. This is what Abraham's father did. And Tahor, he's not grateful for the entire creation that the Most High made. His son comes to him, actually really coming as somebody that could save his entire soul. But Tahor, instead of being obedient to his son's words through the Most High speaking to him, he was like, "You messing with me and my idols. Why do you want to throw my idols out?" Find it in the book of Joshua, find it in the book of Jubilees. And so Abraham, he takes it upon himself to be like, okay, well, I got to leave. I can't keep doing this. I found out the creator of the entire universe is out doing other stuff, not making idols. He's creating the entire universe, the sun, the moon, the stars, the plants. And then as he's walking on his journey, the Most High says, great, now I got you where I want you. You left your father's house. He said, I'm going to show you a land. You are going to be an entire nation. Not only will you be a nation, but you're going to have nations coming out of you. This is why everybody knows the Abrahamic religions. That was the promise to Abraham. That was literally the promise. That's why you have descendants that are in Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Morocco, North Africa. You have people in these countries, in Burkina Faso, Ghana, all of these countries, and you say, why are they connecting and working? Because they're children of Abraham. Because whether they understand or not, which most of them probably do, because their holy books haven't been stolen from them. They know their history. They know what time it is. They're like, oh, it's time to realign ourselves. We both have a father called Abraham. Great. Let's realign ourselves. Let's work together to get these colonizers out of here. But a lot of people in America will say, oh, well, why would Africans work with Arabians? First of all, Africa and the Middle East are some of the oldest kingdoms on the face of the earth. I don't know who didn't know this. So it's very prideful to ask an African country that, by the way, was not taken in slavery, that, by the way, has been in their homeland, remembers their rules and instructions, their culture, remembers all this, and ask them, well, why are you partnering with an Arab nation? Why not? Why are you partnering with China? Why not? Why are you partnering with Turkey? Why not? When these are ancient kingdoms that would always trade together. Make it make sense. If you're a business owner and somebody wants to trade with you and sign a huge contract and they happen to be from Saudi Arabia, what are you going to say? I'm going to say yes, absolutely. Let's work together. Why? Because I understand lineage and networks, because I'm not the only human on the face of the planet. The universe does not revolve around just me. There's other humans on the planet. I don't know. Maybe that's a shocker. But there are other humans on the planet that the Most High created. There are certain promises that were given to descendants of Ishmael. I don't know if people really read the Bible. I don't know. I really read it in between the lines, all of it, front to back. And I really enjoyed the front a lot because it has a lot of historical context. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, it's time for the people in America to grow up or be left behind, is what I'm trying to get you to understand. It's grow up and become an international minded diplomat, an international minded entrepreneur, an international minded person, or get left behind. You weren't called the salt of the earth to bury yourself under the ground. That's not, what would be the point of being the salt of the earth, to bury under the ground and be like, well, I just got to only speak to these people in this one area code that I know. That's not salt of the earth mentality. That's fearful, lazy mentality. Change your identity, change the way you view yourself, change the way you view other humans. Because it's like, what does it mean to be the salt of the earth? What does it mean? African nations get it, especially West African nations. They're starting to get it. They're like, yeah, we need to work together and get these colonizers out and go back to the ancient paths. What? Book of Jeremiah says, seek the ancient path, but the Israelites in Judah specifically, I didn't call them out. It's Jeremiah calling them out through the Most High. So I'm just repeating what I read. Specifically through Judah saying, seek the ancient path, seek the ancient path. I'll bless you, I'll bless you. But they said back to the Most High through Jeremiah, we will not seek it. Because 1, you're too young telling us what to do. 2, we don't like how you come and telling us what to do. 3, the Most High, we don't even want to hear from him right now. Fine, go into captivity. Enjoy. Because that's, at the end of the day, what happened at the end of the book of Jeremiah. Because the Most High is so patient, he has Jeremiah continue to go to Judah, continue to go to Judah, continue to go to the southern kingdom, telling them over and over, hey, the destruction's coming. Hey, the destruction's coming. Years pass by, years and years and years, the destruction's coming. They don't believe it. Now, you think Jeremiah got caught up in the destruction? To an extent, but not really. He was allowed to live freely. Yes, he went to Babylon with them, but he was allowed to live freely. He was allowed to be a free man, living comfortably, because the Most High protected him even when his people did not follow the Most High. Why is that? You got to start to ask these things. You got to start to look at these stories that are here in the scriptures and see them with the proper lens and ask, if the world is not, if the entire universe is not centered around me and African American people, but it's actually centered around Yahusha, then you can get the proper context and see, oh, that's what he's trying to do. The world is not centered around just African Americans. It's not. The entire gospel isn't just about African American. The entire gospel is about what Yahusha wants to do to the world and bringing his justice and his kingdom to earth. His kingdom that you get to be a part of. But the entire universe is centered around him. That's why he says all nations will come and worship at my feet and confess that I'm the king. Yeshua is the king. The salvation of the ends of the earth. Not just the corner of this one segment in America, this corner of this one segment. No, the ends of the earth have to confess. And we'll have no problem. A lot of them will have no problem doing so because what's happening in Africa right now. Because they're going to start to say, as the scriptures say, remember when the Most High brought the children of Israel back from all those lands, from Iran, from Saudi Arabia, from Brazil, from Australia, from Madagascar, from all the islands of the sea, and he opened up the oceans and they became dry lands, and he brings them all back. And people are going to start to say, wow, they're going to forget about Egypt even being a thing in captivity and look and see the new escape plan that the Most High is making and say, wow, we know the Most High exists, because it seemed like there was no way they could get back and be like this. But they're like that because Yahusha is the center of the universe, working through them. So y'all, that's my little spiel. That's what I want to say.
It's just ask yourself, guys, like, do you know what seeking an ancient path really means? Like, do you really know what it means? Like, can you really seek the ancient path where you are right now, in the environment, in the land that you're in right now? Like, is that possible to do? So, yeah, ask yourself questions.
Shalom, shalom. Be blessed. And know that you can travel abroad. Like, you have options. You have options. All praises to the Most High. Be grateful. Be an authority. Be purposeful. And look out for your options, because they're there. You just got to step into it.
Yeah, you gotta believe and trust the Most High. Your trust is the Most High, so it's there. It's there for you. Just waiting. You just gotta step into it. Be blessed, y'all. Shalom.